As an experienced Cane Corso breeder of over 16 years at Maxima Lux Kennel, I understand how dangerous this breed can potentially be if not properly managed and contained. While well-bred and trained Cane Corsos make exceptional guardians, their size, strength, and territorial instincts demand utmost respect and responsible handling. One area of particular concern is the Cane Corso's tolerance for other animals and potential prey drive. Despite being bred primarily as estate guardians rather than hunters, many Corsos retain strong innate desires to pursue, attack, and kill smaller domesticated animals that their ancestors may have perceived as prey. Cats, in particular, can trigger intense chase-prey behaviors that even a well-trained Cane Corso may struggle to override in the heat of the moment. Their cat-killing drives are often difficult to curb, making them extremely high risk for homes with feline companions unless rigorously desensitized from puppyhood. At Maxima Lux, I do not actually have chickens, cats, or other small animals on my kennel premises during the first 8-12 weeks of a litter's life. However, I have had numerous instances where puppies that I've bred and sold at around 3 months old have then successfully integrated into their new homes abroad. That included smaller pets like chickens, rabbits, and cats. Despite not having direct exposure to these smaller animals during the critical, early socialization periods at my facility, many of my Cane Corso puppies have arrived at their new owners and quickly accepted and even appointed themselves as protectors over the resident chickens, bantams, and barn cats already living on those properties. While seeing these smaller animals for the first time as adolescents, the puppies' prey drives towards them were effectively neutralized through positive introduction by their new owners, coupled with the Corsos' fundamental ability to closely bond and perceive anything under their new family's care as part of their jurisdiction, deserving of gentle acceptance. This speaks volumes about how genetic temperament and judicious breeding for stable, discerning guardians at Maxima Lux has produced Cane Corsos equipped to gradually accept and demonstrate restraint around even highly unusual smaller packmates when the introductions are handled properly. As territorial guardians, Cane Corsos were also selectively bred to be intolerant of outside dogs or animals encroaching on their perceived domain. Dog aggression, especially towards unfamiliar dogs of the same sex, is relatively common in the breed. Serious fights resulting in injuries can erupt if introductions or interactions are not managed carefully. As family guardians, Cane Corsos bond tightly with their immediate family group, especially children in the household. However, their protective instincts can potentially manifest as excessive territoriality, resource guarding, or general intolerance of unfamiliar children if not carefully exposed to these situations from puppyhood. A lack of controlled socialization and training can lead to fearful, aggressive reactions when young visitors come over to play with the family's children. Tragic, unintentional bites and attacks have occurred as otherwise friendly Corsos get overprotective of their children in particular contexts without clear rules established. Similarly, repair people or extended family members interacting with their children, especially in more personal spaces like a child's bedroom, may regrettably trigger overly defensive behaviors in unsocialized, untrained Corsos. This can quickly escalate from territorial posturing to outright aggression if not handled properly. Even as devoted family guardians, an untrained Cane Corso's playfulness and rough housing can be potentially hazardous for small children due to their size, strength, and intensity in play if not taught to carefully mind their pressure and bite inhibition around vulnerable youngsters. In households with multiple children or large family gatherings, a Cane Corso's instinct to establish pack order may predispose them to attempt intimidation, body blocking, or restraining certain children in situations they perceive as competition or defiance of their authority. With their immense bite force and gripping capabilities, what may start as seemingly harmless mouthing, grabbing clothing, or restraint can quickly escalate to serious injury particularly for smaller children that cannot physically break free from the dog's vise-like hold. Ultimately, the question of just how dangerous an individual Cane Corso may be is impossible to universally quantify. Their potential for defensive intensity exists on a broad spectrum, from relatively low-key pets at one end to highly capable personal and estate guardians at the other extreme. So much depends on the individual dog's genetics, socialization, training, environment, and influences during their critical developmental periods. What I can state from experience is that well-bred and reared Cane Corsos, from a proven bloodline like Maxima Lux's, should exhibit a stable, confident temperament as the foundation. They are discerning enough to make reliable family companions and can be trained to become unshakably devoted guardians and protectors when called upon. Yet their guarding behaviors should be constrained by rules, boundaries, and reliable control instilled by experienced owners and handlers. A Cane Corso's intimidating presence, athletic abilities, and willingness to escalate to powerful defensive actions, if absolutely necessary, provide commanding deterrent value for most guardian applications. However, responsible owners should never tolerate or encourage indiscriminate acts of unprovoked aggression or lack of control in this breed. A properly bred and trained Cane Corso guardian from a program like Maxima Lux should only be considered dangerous by those with nefarious intent to violate or bring harm to what they have been charged to protect: family, property, and personal space. For everyone else, they can be valued, discerning companions, deserving of respect for their specially seed roles and capabilities as supreme guard dogs. Over my decades of selective breeding at Maxima Lux, I have sought to produce Cane Corso lines with sound temperaments, confident, faithful guardians with an innate sense of discrimination that makes them far from indiscriminate maulers or unstable threats in the wrong situations. A hallmark of my breeding program is to identify and propagate even-tempered, intelligent, and biddable Corsos that can be loving family companions yet capable of transitioning into formidable guard dogs when necessary. Of course, every litter will produce some variations in temperament intensity, from low-keyed, more easygoing pups well-suited to stable pet homes, to higher drive guard prospects exhibiting more sharpness and territorial intensity for those seeking enhanced guardians. As a responsible breeder, it's my duty to carefully evaluate these temperaments and selectively place each puppy into the most appropriate homes prepared to manage their unique needs. Even among the sharper guard dog prospects, a young Cane Corso's aggressive tendency is essentially a blank slate that can be carefully molded through proper rearing and training into a stable, discriminating guardian, or a dangerously unpredictable liability in the wrong hands.